The first time McKay Sanders kissed his brother's best friend, Grant, they were getting high in a burned out car in the field behind Mackey's apartment building. Kellogg, who looked old enough to buy even though he just turned 18, had spent $10 the brothers didn't have on cheap muscat. By the time Grant, whose father had money, brought out the pot, Kellogg, Jefferson, and Stevie were passed out on the old camp blanket Stevie had brought from his dad's garage. It was a celebration of sorts for landing the prom gig. The older kids had hogged all the muscat, though, and Mackey felt left out. Kellogg kept saying it wasn't right to get his little brother drunk, and Mackey kept saying it wasn't right to drink in front of him, but by the time Kellogg was too drunk to argue, there wasn't any wine left. Jefferson and Stevie had finished off the other bottle all by themselves, just sitting quietly, not making any waves like they usually did, passing the bottle between them. "Boy, you two argue a lot," Grant said after Kel let out a gut-buster of a yawn and fell asleep quick as a baby. Mackey grunted and prodded at his older brother with his toe. The three brothers present looked nothing alike. Kel was built like a tank, with rounded shoulders, a brown-eyed glare, and plain brown hair that he buzz-cut short to his scalp. He was like born practicality, which was why hoarding the wine rankled Mackey so badly. An expenditure like that wasn't going to happen again. "He gets mad," Mackey said, letting out a sigh. He slouched back inside the shelter of the car, peering through the doorframe at the iron-gray sky. "He's the one who takes care of us, you know? But not in the band." It was true. Kel could play guitar ably enough, but Mackey... "You can play everything," Grant said with admiration. "You're the one who puts the songs together, figures out who should be playing what, and the shit you write on your own." Mackey smiled at him a little shyly. Grant had the most interesting face, with a long, straight nose, full pink lips, and almond-shaped hazel eyes. When Grant looked at him with admiration, it stopped his breath and pulled rubber bands in his stomach. He stopped because Grant was reaching into his pocket, and he pulled out a baggie full of weed and papers. "Oh." Grant looked down at the other three, who were sleeping soundly in the late afternoon chill. "I was gonna share," he said mischievously. "But Kel was a dick about the wine, so I thought, you and me?" Mackey nodded, captivated by the thrill of the forbidden, and by the way that cherry-ripe mouth pulled up at the corners when Grant smiled. "I've never, Grant shrugged. "Me and Kel do sometimes. But, you know, Kel's usually a good guy." Mackey reflected on his sleeping brother. Kel was a good guy. For example, Mackey had a confused memory of their youngest brother Cheever's dad, the one dad they thought would stick around beyond giving the baby a first name. Cheever's dad hadn't been very patient, and he'd hated Mackey. Well, Mackey was sort of a smartass. He'd probably had that fist coming. But that hadn't stopped Kel from stepping up and hitting Enos Cheever right back. Mackey and Kel had both needed stitches after that, but their mom had kicked Enos Cheever out. Child support or no child support. That was okay. Kel and Jeff had been almost old enough to work by then. They'd only needed assistance for a couple of months. "He doesn't like it that I can boss him around," Mackey said glumly. He's the leader, right? But I hear the music, and it just makes sense, you know? And you can't do it wrong just 'cause it'll hurt Kel's feeling. It's, He was waving his hands around, trying to find words, which was funny because Mackey actually wrote songs. He closed his eyes, ignoring Grant rolling a number, and tried to make a song out of it.